Yeah, so I hope you get the idea about we're trying to get as much information as we can from these test tires. They are wet as can be right now. All right, so I'm going to move on to making stamps. Let me just dip this last one. I'm going to set these aside without tipping them over. And I'm going to put this clay away for now, and we're going to get us out some porcelain. So we'll have an understanding of the shrinkage of our clay. We'll have an understanding of the glazes we're going to put on the clay. Pretty soon we're going to be making the pots, but funny thing about pots, they all end up bunched together into a kiln with our grad students loading the kiln and managing the firing. And when the pots come out, a lot of them look alarmingly similar. So we want to make sure that we can distinguish one pot from the other. And a great way to do that is to make some stamps. We could use the stoneware, but it can have some sand or grog, it's called, in it. And it's sometimes better to use a beautiful white porcelain to make stamps. So we do have some porcelain here. And I hope you guys will read up on cuneiform, the history of stamping, read up on sprig molds, read up on basically printmaking, because that is what making stamps really is. You have to work backwards. In other words, if I was going to make a stamp that was my initials, JD, I would have to have them backwards. If I wanted them to stand out when I press them into the clay, I would have to carve in on the stamp. So basically what we're talking about is positive to negative. So I have just wedged this clay, this porcelain. By the way, these movies are just going to keep rolling. I may come to the end of my 20-minute talk and the movie will cut out and it will just sort of pick up with the next movie. And I really want to have a lot of these movies for you guys because of course we are distant right now and we need to be respectful of each other, and I don't want to be spreading my germs around. So I think it's smarter for you guys to be watching these videos. I have a way of sort of evaluating whether you guys actually are watching the videos, so I want you to make sure you're watching them. And once is probably not enough. You got to watch it a couple times to really get what I'm trying to talk about. So I just rolled out a slab of this, or rolled out a coil of this porcelain, and I'm just going to shape it into a circle. Now, it doesn't have to be a circle. These stamps can be, just by tapping it on this board, triangular. And you see what I'm going to do with these stamps is press them into my pots or my tiles or whatever I'm making and have some sort of a signature there so you will be able to tell one pot from the other. I'm going to expect you to stamp all your pots. Okay, so that would be a triangle. Right now, the stamp can be flat or And that's my phone going off, by the way, so don't be searching for your phone right now. My stamp could also be slightly raised. I'm not sure if you can see that. You see how that has a little bit of a height to it? So what this would basically be is a triangle that would go in sort of as a curve. So that's one type of stamp. That would be sort of for a large-ish pot. I'm going to roll out another little foil. I'm sort of keeping the edges closed off, almost like a cigar, so that the clay doesn't roll onto itself and put a hole in the middle of the stamp. This is a little bit smaller, and then I'm just going to cut it down. You'll see there's going to be an assignment about stamp making. So you're going to want to make quite a few, because a lot of them don't really turn out the first time. And get ready, because often our pots don't turn out perfectly the first time. Not often. Always. The first time is always sort of a exploration. So this would be a nice size for stamping into the side of a bowl. Let's see if I have one to show you. Here we go. See that little stamp right there? Is there one here? That one's a little on the lighter side. See if I got some good ones here. Here's a good one. See my little stamp right there? So you want to have them several different sizes, because your pots are going to be different sizes. And you want them big enough that you can pick them up. And so make a bunch of these. In porcelain. So you'll be able to do certain things when the clay is wet and sticky like this. For example, you go grab a little tool. On a stamp like this, when the clay is wet, you can tune it up a little and maybe make some marks. But pretty much that's all you can do at this point, because the clay is just too sticky. And I could also maybe make use of this clay and do a little stamp on this side. This would be a flat circle with some marks. Or, better yet, I could wait until the clay is what they call bone dry here, and with an X-Acto knife I could actually carve into the dry surface. And that would sort of be like carving into soapstone. So I want to show you some examples of some stamps. And these are the things that will be expected of you. So there's my initials. I hope you can see it. There's a mark here which tells you which way is up, because you want to make sure you don't stamp your work with your initials upside down. This is carved in, so the initials are backwards and carved in. They will be raised after I stamp. Here's a bigger initial. There's a gigantic initial. And this is similar to this stamp, except that I actually carved these marks out. This is a eucalyptus pod, so clay can actually be pressed into this kind of stamp. This is more a sprig kind of a stamp, and then pulled out, and you have a little shape that you can attach to your pot. This is an Indian, from the Indian continent, wooden stamp. Shells are fabulous. This is sort of a flower shape, but I could also take this stamp, see if I can get this to work, and roll it across the clay to make a texture like that. And with stamps, you get a quality in the clay that you really couldn't get if you were trying to carve this out. It's just a whole different kind of a feel. So I want you to explore stamps, and you're definitely going to need them for keeping track of your pots. See how much fun you can have? Alright guys, this was a quick video, but that's all for now. Bye.